What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be talking about a Shudder original film. I always have fun talking about new Shudder films when they're released. And the one I'm going to be talking about today was just released a few days ago, and it is called Glorious. Glorious is directed by Rebekah McKendry. After a breakup, Wes ends up at a remote rest stop. He finds himself locked inside the bathroom with a mysterious figure speaking from an adjacent stall. Soon, Wes realizes he is involved in a situation more terrible than he could imagine. I feel like this is definitely a film that was shot during COVID, or like when COVID was pretty intense, because it has such a small scale cast, and this is the kind of thing that I would in theory just absolutely adore. It's a small scale film that's in one environment. It's heavily dialogue driven, and our lead character Wes, from early on, he's really disheveled. He's driving in this car, he's having flashbacks and seeing this woman. You're not 100% sure what it is other than like a broken relationship. He gets drunk outside of the rest stop, passes out, wakes up the next morning, there's no one in there. He goes in to use the bathroom, and in the stall that he's in, there's like a glory hole cut out in the stall, and a huge like Lovecrafty and hand-drawn picture on there that's kind of like childlike but also really detailed. And you start hearing the voice of J.K. Simmons through the other side of the stall. They have a conversation back and forth, and eventually what you come to find out is that J.K. Simmons' character is this Lovecraftian creature named Got, who has been trapped in our world where he can't hide himself from the rest of his family. And so he tells our lead character that he's going to have to do something for him to survive. And it's just our lead character trying to figure out how to get out of this bathroom, or why he's trapped in there in the first place. So I really like the setup of this movie, and I think that a lot of the visuals are cool. There's like the really like purplish lighting that exists in a lot of these Lovecraftian films. Like I thought heavily into the Color Out of Space film that came out in, I believe, 2019 with Nicolas Cage. A lot of the lighting choices reminded me of that. But the problem that I had with this movie is that it takes a really long time to get going, and then by the time it does, it's a little repetitive, and our lead character constantly trying to break out, J.K. Simmons' character saying, you can't do that, you just have to deal with what's going to come. And then by the time the real payoff happens in the third act, it's like you've spent so much time repeating yourself over and over and over again that it just doesn't really resonate heavy enough. I do think there's a couple moments between our lead character and J.K. Simmons where they do have some witty banter back and forth that I think works. And being in this small scale of an environment when you're telling this type of a story, you have to kind of work with what you're given, and I think that's really cool. And I really admire the filmmaker for trying to tell a story that's all essentially in one environment. That's really difficult to do. You have to keep the camera movements interesting. You have to try to keep the audience engaged because you have such a limited space. So there's a cool scene where he like pops a vent out, climbs through this vent in the bathroom, and just ends up in the same spot again. And I love stuff like that. Some of the Cthulhu-esque creatures have really cool designs, and I liked that. Obviously, it's not shown a whole lot during the movie because most of it is just a small-scale character study. And then I do think the twist in the third act of the movie is really interesting. I thought the direction that they took it was really fascinating, but I just wish that some of the storytelling in the beginning was a little bit more concise. It's very much like just playing into our lead character's gone through a breakup, he's binge drinking, he's upset, he like smashes his phone on the ground at one point. There's all these like little things where it's like, oh, now he doesn't have a phone, now he's going to be trapped in this bathroom. I just felt like it's an hour and 19-minute runtime, and you obviously, have something you want to say with this movie. Just spend more time fleshing that character out and less of just the surface level, like, yeah, he's upset because he was in a breakup. I don't know, that part of the movie just kind of pulled me out of it. But like I said, there are little gem moments throughout, and I do think this movie is worth watching just because of, I have the utmost respect for filmmakers who tell these really small scale stories and utilize the budget to their advantage, because clearly the budget was heavily put into the Lovecraftian-esque effects. For the most part, it's just this dingy rest stop bathroom. And so just trying to find ways to light it and keep it interesting for the viewer to stay engaged on this really small scale story. And then obviously there's a period in time where there's another character that's introduced for a brief moment just to kind of change it up for the viewers a little bit and throw something else into it. I kind of knew what was going to happen. I mean, if you watched any promotional material or saw the trailer, you kind of saw it coming from a mile away. I always respect Shudder because they give these people the ability to make these movies, and sometimes there's some really amazing gems that come out on the platform, and sometimes there's movies that are just kind of meh to me, and this was one that was sort of middle of the road. I enjoyed myself. I'm not upset that I watched it. I just wish that it was so much more than what it was. So have you seen Glorious? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was okay. I didn't think that it was anything super special. I thought there was a great performance from J.K. Simmons in it, but besides that, it was just kind of middle of the road, but still worth watching. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.